What's up, everybody? It's your boy Adam back at you once again. It is hashtag homeless once again. And it is day 69, baby. 69. Alright, I'm just going to jump in to the notes here and I'm going to get started. I'm going to continue this conversation, and I'm calling it a conversation because of the fact that you guys leave me so many comments every day. And those comments prompt a lot of what I'm going to talk about from one day to the next. So it is a conversation, and I'm glad that it's not just me sitting here talking into the camera and into the microphone, doing the podcast with a face approach. But, you know, you guys, the viewers, drive this content quite a bit. And, you know, the situations that I'm in are also having an effect on what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to continue where I left off yesterday, and that's, you know, being worried for no reason. Even though the things that I were worried about, I don't even know if it qualifies. I don't know if worry is the right word, because I don't even think that it was at the level of worry. If there's a word to replace worry with that's a little bit less severe, I think that's where my thoughts were on the things that I had to deal with yesterday. So, right off the bat, a lot of you trolls in the comments section, a lot of you trolls claim that I am a delusional, bipolar, schizophrenic who deserves to be locked up in a mental hospital. And so you'll be glad to know that yesterday I did have a scheduled psychiatric evaluation that was a court-ordered appointment as part of my probation, because they also felt the same way. So I'm really sorry to disappoint you trolls, but it turns out that I have a clean bill of mental health from a certified bona fide psychiatrist. She said that everything makes sense in terms of what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, that sometimes people say and do things that are not representational of their true character, and she does not see any signs that I need any continued treatment at all. No psychiatric drugs or anything, not even additional appointments. The only thing that she has left to do at this point is notify the probation office and the court that I am of sound mind. So there you have it, trolls. If you have any problem with that diagnosis, feel free to reach out to the proper authorities and express your concerns. But moving on, yesterday I was talking about some unfounded concerns. I'll say concerns instead of worries that I had yesterday. They were not huge problems or huge worries or huge concerns, but I just wasn't looking forward to the day and to that appointment for a number of reasons, and three of those reasons I'll get into right now. You know, if it's a government building, it's City Hall, it's the court building, it's the main government building in Jamestown that I had to go to. And so these buildings have a lot of security. And so I have to carry this heavy laptop bag with me all the time. And it's already been a problem at certain government buildings. And it's not a huge problem. The worst thing that ever happens is that I'll get asked to leave the bag at the front security desk and only take with me what I need for whatever appointment it is. So I was just, I was wondering how invasive the security was going to be at this building, because I've never been inside this particular building before, and so that was bothering me. The second thing that was concerning me is that I'm homeless with no health insurance, and I was worried that when I got to the service window at this place and received another giant stack of paperwork to fill out, which is pretty much consuming my life right now, that I would either be denied service or I would have to outlay a payment of cash for this appointment, and a cash that I don't have. And I was just wondering what would happen. And because this is a court-ordered appointment that I'm required to do, I was hoping I would not end up with any additional hassles than what I'm already going through. And I also, the third thing is I have an aversion to the medical community in general. I was talking yesterday about how I waited 8 weeks to go get looked at for a broken arm. So I was just hoping that I would not be dealing with some sort of government-sponsored quack psychiatrist who tries diagnosing me the same way the comment trolls have diagnosed me, saying that I'm a delusional, bipolar, psychotic nut job who needs to be drugged beyond comprehension and forced into a straitjacket and taken to a mental hospital. You know, I look at some of these government-sponsored psychiatrists. I believe, and I'm not 100% sure of this, but Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber, the Tsarnaev brother, the one that lived, and the Boston bombing suspect, and Sirhan, the assassin, the supposed lone assassin of Robert Kennedy, they all have the same psychiatrist appointed by the government. So whenever the government has a patsy, or whenever the government... this psychiatrist being assigned to somebody is a good sign that whatever the event that was that caused this person to end up in prison, it was an inside job, because that is the inside job psychiatrist that they bring onto the scene to drug the living shit out of whoever the patsy was, so that the patsy's completely incoherent and can't talk and can't speak out about what actually happened. Sirhan, Timothy McVeigh, this Tsarnaev guy, probably several others, all have the same psychiatrist. You can look that up. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I would say 95% sure. I would be willing to bet on it. So anyway, those were the three things concerning me about going to this appointment, but it wasn't at a level I was losing sleep over it or anything like that. You know, I was saying my mind was preparing for all of those things and probably other things, you know, thinking about the worst possible scenario and what might happen, because that's just what I do. It's just natural for me to do that. It's no different than being in a soccer match where the other team gets a free kick or a corner kick, and I'm looking around the field with my teammates, and we're all looking for the worst possible outcome. We're looking for that lone person on the opposite team who's in position to score a goal. And we're trying to put ourselves in a position to prevent that worst possible outcome. So in some ways, having that state of mind, always trying to prepare for the worst, you know, that's why there are a lot of people we call preppers, and they try to be prepared for anything. And so there's a good side and a bad side to this, and the bad side is when you obsess over it, and the bad side is when your obsession gets to the point where you're paralyzed with fear and you can't actually do anything anymore because you're constantly afraid and paralyzed by the fear. But a healthy speculation about, you know, being prepared. I'm gonna sidetrack for just a second, but I always talk about how I always had a year's supply of food at my house. It took a while to build that stockpile up so that I had a year's supply of food. And people would make fun of me and say, oh, you're waiting for the government to come kick down your door, which eventually happened. But no, that's not actually the reason. The number one situation where having a year's supply of food came in handy is when I'd lose a job. And that happened at least twice during the time that I had a food stockpile like that. So what happens? We don't starve. I don't have to go grocery shopping more than once or twice a month. And when I do go grocery shopping, what am I buying? Fresh food. I'm spending, granted, this was before Joe Biden came on the scene, so, you know, the prices don't match up with what it is today, but back the last time I lost my job, we would go grocery shopping maybe once every other week, pick up fresh food only. We didn't need to pick up drinks. We didn't need to pick up storable food. We didn't need to pick up pasta. We didn't need to pick up canned food. Anything that had a shelf life, we already had. And so the only things that I would need to pick up were some meat, some vegetables, fresh stuff that's perishable, like milk, things like that. I would go to the grocery store. If I went to the grocery store once a week, I was spending no more than $20 to $25. Now, in Joe Biden's economy, that would be about $175 for the same amount of groceries, but back then it was $25. And so that's all I would have to spend, and I would just eat down the stockpile of food over For one period of time, it was 4 months after I refused my shot and got fired for refusing a shot in my arm. I had enough food that we didn't starve. We ate well for the next 4 months, and we ate good. And when we did go to the grocery store, like I said, we were only stocking up on perishables. Everything else was covered. We had everything we needed. So being prepared and expecting the worst isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a mechanism for you to protect yourself against things that actually might happen. But I was concerned about all kinds of things when it came to going to that office yesterday. But here's what actually happened. So before walking over to the office, to start out the day, someone left a $25 donation in my digital chicken bucket. And so, my digital chicken bucket, which is donate.litgood.com, somebody dropped off 25 bones into the chicken bucket. And that was a really great way to start off the day. And to me, that felt like, knowing I can grab a couple of weeks worth of iced coffee at Crazy Tim Hortons while I sit there using their Wi-Fi on the weekends and certain evenings, that was a sign from above telling me that the day was going to be smooth and I probably wouldn't have any problems today. So thank you for that gift. I appreciate it very much, and it is going to a good cause. The security gate at the government building, it was a little bit invasive. I had to do the usual thing like the airport, emptying out my pockets, placing everything in these bowls, putting my bag on the x-ray machine. But they had this ultra-sensitive metal detector. So first my watch set it off. And then I walked through again and my belt buckle set the thing off. So I had to take off my belt and my watch. And the third time I went through, the thing went off again. And the sheriff's deputy told me that it was fine because it was the metal eyelets on my boots that were setting it off this time. And so, wow, man, like if you go in there with if you go in there with a paper clip, it's going to set this thing off. But they were very friendly. And when it all boiled down to it, it was a very quick and only a little bit of a hassle. They didn't make me leave my bag behind. They didn't go rummaging through everything. They just sent me on my way. And I was a half hour early for my appointment anyway, so the little bit of hassle that I went through wasn't a problem. So now I get to the office window, and the receptionist, of course, the first thing she asks me is about my insurance. And so I tell her I'm homeless and I don't have any insurance. And so she sits there and she types some stuff into her computer system and she looks up some things, and turns out I actually do have health insurance from the state, from social services or Medicaid or whatever it is. And nobody in these offices ever informed me that I had it or that it came through. I never got anything in the mail. I never got any kind of notification whatsoever that I actually have health insurance. And so I never knew what the policy number was. I never even knew that I had any. And so the woman at the desk, she wrote down my policy number and the information for me on a Post-it note so that I could put it somewhere and keep it handy from now on. Until I find a job, I know that I have health insurance if I need to go see, if I need medical services for some reason. So that was kind of that was a concern that turned into a bonus. I learned something I didn't even know, and it turned out to be a positive thing. And so after that, I fill out this big stack of papers. As a user experience designer, this is the kind of stuff that really gets on my nerves because it's my job to redesign bad, broken processes such as this. The first paper that I had to fill out, the very top of the paper, it said, fill out your name, address, phone number, date of birth. Okay, and that was at the top of the page, and it was a block of information. And then the very next section on the page was fill out your name, address, phone number, and date of birth. And I'm like, well, didn't I just fucking put it right here, right above where I have to put it again? And so I had to fill out my name, address, phone number, and date of birth about 72 times while I was going through this stack of paper. And that's the kind of thing that I look at as a user experience designer, and that's obviously a bad user experience and I'm just thinking to myself, can't they come up with a better way to do this? I mean, this is so ridiculous. The way that these government agencies waste trees. I mean, how many trees have to die so that you can have 72 copies of my name, address, phone number, and date of birth? I mean, literally, a whole forest had to die so that you could get that information from me. And then you tell me and you tell the rest of us that we're the reason why the environment's falling apart. Get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. So after I fill out all the paperwork and get that done, which took the half hour that I had getting, it took the entire half hour that I had while I sat there. So now the psychiatrist comes out and she walks me back to her office, and right off the bat, I got a really good impression from her. She was extremely friendly, extremely professional. She asked me a whole bunch of questions, and we talked about what happened leading to my arrest and the reason for the court order. We discussed how I became homeless and, some of the stuff that I went through, the emotional abuse that I was going through and some of the other things. Talked about some of the things that I saw when I was in prison. I saw a guy. I was in one jail or prison. I don't know what you want to call this place. It was a federal transfer facility, and 3 to 5 people a day were getting stabbed. I watched a guy get stabbed and then try to run off of the block, holding his chest, holding his hand over his abdomen, trying to keep his organs from falling out of his body, and he wasn't doing a very good job of it. So, I mean, these are the kinds of things I was watching every day while I was locked up. And so, we talked about that. We talked about some of the other things that were going on, and she said that she was going to give me a diagnosis to present to the authorities who ordered this. And I don't know the exact words that she used, but basically adjustment something or other syndrome. And what it basically means is that this guy is going through a hard time, and he has some problems that anybody would have in his situation. Like, nobody's going to be going through what I've been through for the last 2 years and walk around saying that life is nothing but sunshine and rainbows. So she said that I'm of sound mind. I'm doing the right things to mitigate my stress and my anxiety, the levels of which are not abnormal, and anybody in my shoes would be feeling the same thing. She said she doesn't recommend any further treatment or drugs. But she did let me know that if I do want counseling and I do want to talk to somebody, that she would be available and I can make an appointment. She gave me her card. She said that she will get the paperwork over to probation in the courts, and then I can cross this requirement off of my list of things that I'm required to do. And so that was good. It all turned out good, and I had no significant problems. I went back to my quote-unquote virtual office at the public library, and I read some emails letting me know that my revised resume is still having a little bit of a positive effect. It's only been 3 days since I made all the changes to it, and I picked up another interview for a 6-figure job. The company came to me. I did not reach out to them. This company is asking me to respond with a multi-page presentation answering a bunch of questions that are pretty tough questions to answer, but it's job interview questions. And so right now I'm in the process of working on that. And I would probably be able to finish that today, but I also have another job interview for a $200,000 a year job in Pittsburgh, and I have to do some preparation on that. And doing this exercise of putting this document together is actually good prep for the interview that I have today, because I'm basically writing down or typing up answers to interview questions that I might get asked this afternoon. And so I'm going to be focused in that area of thought all day long once I get this video posted and once I get, those things taken care of. So I'm probably going to abandon the social media posts and all that kind of stuff today in favor of this job lead, and, for good reason. So I feel like if I can't do it today, I'll probably wrap it up tomorrow. And based on what they're asking me to do, I don't think it's unreasonable to turn this around in 48 hours. We're I'm going to try to get it back to them today, but I don't know. I want to do a good job on it, and I think that the way that they're asking me to do this puts me at an advantage because I'm really good at putting presentations like this together and giving me time to think through my answers rather than being put on the spot in a face-to-face interview to come up with the answers to these questions is only going to be a bigger advantage for me because I have pretty good writing skills, and I'm also using AI to help me clean that writing up. So I've got some pretty banging answers to all of these questions forming based on, my own thoughts and the AI tools that I'm using to polish it up and make it sound good. So, today, like I said, I have a major job interview for that job in Pittsburgh, and it's over a Zoom meeting. And I decided I'm just going to do it from the library. So I'm really going to be doing a lot of the bare minimum today just to get this video posted to the different platforms, and then I'm going to focus on my presentation and do all that kind of stuff. Let's see, the video length. I do have the retention graph for the 1 hour and 20 minute long video, and it turns out 11% of the viewers made it to the end of that video so far, which is 11 out of every 100 people that watch. And I'm going to assume that close to 1,000 people watch the video. So that could be as high as, 110 people making it to the end. And as far as I care, as long as you watch the ad at the beginning and get me paid, I don't care what you do from there. I'm getting my money. So let's see. There on the other side of the job search, there's a cleaning job. A woman reached out to me. Now it was more than 2 days ago. And I've been trying to contact this woman who left a message on my voicemail about this cleaning job. And she must be the busiest executive on the face of the earth because once again yesterday she wouldn't take my call and told me that she has to call me back. And so I don't understand why. I'm finding out that for any of these real low-end, like bare minimum, minimum wage jobs, that people seem to get really offended if you don't answer the phone the second they call you. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to expect someone to be sitting at their phone waiting to pounce when a stranger calls up their phone number. And if it takes me an hour to call the person back, it seems like I'm always met with some sort of snide-ass attitude. But when the same thing happens when I'm talking about a six-figure job, it's the opposite. It's almost expected that there's going to be some back and forth phone tag going on because people are busy. And they might have something going on when you call them or when they call me. And it's expected that I'm not just sitting in front of my phone waiting for someone to call like a desperate girlfriend when you're out on a 4-hour hike and she doesn't know where you are and texts you 150 times during those 4 hours that you're gone. So, I don't know. It's still good to know that this cleaning job is potentially on the table because I might be able to generate some basic income if I can ever get a hold of this person. But it's been a few days of me trying to call her just to get the brush off. And I'm like, well, why did you call me in the first place if you're not going to be available to talk about this job that you supposedly need to fill? So, I don't know. I'm going to do a little time check here and see where we're at, and it is 23 minutes now. I have another thing that I could do. I have a whole nother thing I could talk about, but it could push the length of this video from 20 minutes to an hour. And so maybe I'll just wrap this up a little bit and make this a shorter video for the short attention span viewers, and then tomorrow maybe I'll do a longer one. So today I'm going to do the daily gratitude list. It's pretty much, they're not much different than yesterday, but I'm just going to say I'm thankful for my good health and I can handle walking everywhere I go. I'm thankful that everything went smooth at the mental health office and all you trolls are heartbroken because I'm not a delusional, bipolar, schizophrenic nut job who deserves to be locked up in a mental institution, according to professional psychiatrists. I'm thankful to be in the running for now 3 different six-figure jobs all at once. I'm still in the running for that software job that I've been interviewing with for almost 8 weeks now, and it is starting to become a grind. I mean, come on, people. 8 weeks, you should be able to make a decision by then. But there are so many different factors that get involved with these kinds of things that this is how it goes sometimes. It really does. Thankful for the YouTube channel and all of you friends and people in the comments and even the trolls that are helping this channel grow. It went way beyond my wildest imagination. When I started this channel, I thought 20 people were going to watch these videos, and turns out a lot more of you are interested than I thought. But like I always say, everybody likes to watch a train wreck, so it doesn't really surprise me. Thankful for not being forced to sleep outside, and also thankful that even though I do have an occasional issue with the homeless shelter, I feel like the people that run it are, I've never said otherwise. I feel like there's issues. There are things that drive me insane, even though I'm not legally or technically insane, according to a bona fide certified psychologist or psychiatrist, or both. I'm still grateful for the fact that they gave me a private room. I'm grateful for the fact that they are generally working with me, and I'm grateful for the fact that they've given me a roof over my head for the last 10 weeks while I'm going through this nightmare. And while everything in my life is completely up in the air, they've been very understanding of all of it and supportive and trying to do the best they can to give me resources and help me through it. So, I really don't have... I'm being honest when I talk about the problems with the place, and I don't want to be there one day longer than I need to be, for sure. But I'm thankful that I have a place to take a shower, a place to do laundry. I even have a desk now for a couple 2-3 hours a night. I can work on things, and I just wouldn't have the ability to do so if it wasn't for that private room. So things to be thankful for sure. And thankful that I have a phone, a computer, equipment that allows me to keep doing these videos and keeps allowing me to set up the means to be more successful in life by generating multiple income streams and setting up different avenues to potentially make a living from that are going to take time. I mean, at least a year to get some of these things off the ground, especially with the amount of time that I can put in on them. But I'm thankful that I have the means to do it. I'm thankful that I have a resource like the local library. I already booked 2 hours to the soundproof booth so that I can do this job interview via Zoom today. And that's extremely helpful, and it's very good to have that in my pocket. Once again, it helps immensely. And I'm thankful that I found a good church. Thankful that I haven't had any serious problems with the probation department, and the fact that they're trying to help me be able to move to Texas so that I can have a roof over my head in a bona fide house where my best friends live, where my best friend and his wife live. And I'm also thankful for them for the opportunity to do that. And so once again, moving on with the plugs, saving them to the end. So, only 11 out of 100 watchers are going to know what the plugs are, because you're the only ones that made it this far. But if you want to keep up with me via email, I'm only a couple of email addresses away from reaching my email list goal that I set after I met the last goal. And you can help me do that by checking out links in the description below. The mailing list is free.litgood.com. And when you sign up for my email list, the only email you're going to get back is a link to download free wallpaper images of my photography, sized to just about any device screen imaginable, be it a phone, an iPad, a tablet, or a desktop computer. Pretty high resolution images for some of the desktop computer resolutions. I do size these things to the native resolution of whatever device it is. So if you have a 4K screen, I do have some 4K nice sharp images up there for you. My YouTube shop. If you click on any of the photos shown below, they'll take you to a shop where you can buy the same products with the same prices and content as my Etsy store. It's just a little bit behind the content on the Etsy store, and I certainly won't be updating that in the next couple of days. So if you want to see the full list, the full suite of photography that's available, that address is shop.litgood.com. And once again, if you want to throw a couple bones in the digital chicken bucket, you know, it's donate.litgood.com. I know some of you have put me on blast for setting up a digital chicken bucket when I said that I wouldn't. And then a lot of you put me on blast because I wouldn't set up a digital chicken bucket when I said that I wouldn't. And so, once again, that's just another example of why you should not try to please everybody, because trying to please everybody is impossible. So, once again, I'm on the socials: Rumble, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and probably a couple other ones that I'm forgetting. And I'm going to try to keep updating those on the regular, but I don't know if I'm going to get around to it today. But in the description below, if you do go to Twitter, my Twitter account, I will be taking breaks. I call it a digital smoke break throughout the day. As I'm working on stuff and I just need to sit back and relax for 5 minutes, I'm scouring the internets for the choicest, most delectable memes and choice cuts of memeing that are available every day. And as I find those, I am posting them to my Twitter account. And so if you follow me on Twitter, you will find that there is a all-you-can-eat buffet of the latest and best memes going across the internet. And unfortunately, right now, since the left can't meme, the only memes that are really showing up there right now are right-wing oriented pro-Donald Trump memes. And really, that's just the Democrats' fault, because none of you know how to make memes. And but if you used to make some good ones when George W. Bush was president, and I used to share those all the time. But ever since Obama came on the scene, you lost your ability to make a meme. And I don't know what happened there, but it is what it is. So, but if you are on that side of the fence and you're looking for all the greatest and best memes available, check me out on Twitter. The link is in the description below. And once again, I'm also on LinkedIn. So any of you professionals out there who are sick and tired of the corporate brown-nosing, ass-kissing LinkedIn posts that you see every day, if you follow me, I promise you that the only thing that I'm posting on LinkedIn is my photography. I will never post some sort of corporate brown-nosing bullshit like look at me at some trade show, or, you know, rescuing an animal, or brown-nosing about, you know, the best way to optimize your efficiency with your TPS reports, or none of that garbage. So if you want to follow me there, check it out. The link is not in the description below, but I'm super easy to find. And if you can't figure out how to find me there, then you're probably not the kind of person who would be on LinkedIn in the first place. So I'm going to leave it there. This is a shorter video today. 33 minutes. We're under an hour by quite a bit. So some of you shorter attention span folks should be happy about that. And, you know, once again, I don't care, because I'm not out here to please everybody, because I know that's an impossible task. But I hope you all have a good day, especially if you made it this far. You're the super fans. You're the ones that keep this channel going. And I am going to sign off, and I hope that we can all have a good conversation in the chat section below throughout the course of the day. And I'll keep you up to date, and I'll come back at you tomorrow. Peace out.